So you put an offer in on a house with your realtor and it got accepted. What's next? So it's really easy to get drawn in and super wrapped up in the emotions and excitement of getting an offer accepted on a purchase of a home. But what's also important to understand is that it's not yours yet. It's not yours until the funds leave your bank account, the bank's bank account, and enter into the bank account of the seller. That's when the deal is considered funded and possession of the property has officially transferred. So the next steps after getting your offer accepted are really crucial to setting yourself up for success and not heartbreak during that whole closing process. So the first thing that's important to do is look back at your contract, figure out if you have an option period or not. If not, that's bad and you should talk to your realtor about that because you should have an option period. But if you do, figure out what that amount was, whether it's $100, $200, $300, and go ahead and make that option check out to the seller and get that sent out as soon as possible, whether you're sending it to your realtor to send to the sellers or you're personally delivering it or sending it in the mail. Second is going to be at the same time, simultaneously write your earnest money check. So the earnest money is typically 1-2% of the purchase price of the home, and in Texas at least, it's something that we have on almost all contracts, and it's a sign of good faith. So you have some more skin in the game going into the contract period, so the sellers know that you mean business and you're not just jerking them around for 30-45 days of taking the home off market only for it to go back on. So go ahead and get that check written as well, and that's going to be going into an escrow account at the title company, unlike the option period. So with this check, give that to your realtor. They'll take it to the title company, who will then deposit that into the escrow account, which gets eventually credited towards the closing and purchase price, or purchase price at closing, sorry. Now that you have the earnest and option money checks written and given to your realtor to go where they need to go, it's important to talk to your realtor or do it yourself. Go ahead and schedule an inspection for the house. So finding a good inspector is really important because some inspectors are incredibly thorough while others, they basically just do walkthroughs. So finding a good inspector can really come down to asking your realtor or other realtors, as well as going on Google or Yelp and looking at some reviews. Facebook's another great way to find awesome inspectors. A lot of times you're going to see inspectors having hundreds of 5-star reviews, and those are going to be the ones that you're usually going to want to go with because they look out for their clients and they really take the time to explain their findings that are in their inspection report, and make sure that you as the buyer are comfortable with the explanations for what they found. So the inspection is really critical, and it's very critical that it takes place within that option period at the beginning of the contract. So in my area, that option period is typically like 10-15 days long, depending on the total length of the contract. So getting that inspection scheduled in the first 2 to 4 days is super crucial because that gives you time to go through that and talk through what has been found, whether it's holes in the walls or aluminum wiring, Kitex plumbing, anything that could be an issue or that you see as an issue that you want remedied. It's important to have that figured out at that period of time so you can go back to the sellers and negotiate in a repair amendment what you want repaired, or if you want concessions in terms of the sales price at closing to come down. So as well as the inspection, I personally always recommend, depending on the area, if it's known for wood destroying insects like termites, to go ahead and have either a dual qualified and certified inspector who also does pest inspections for those, or have a pest control company come out who's certified to inspect for signs of wood destroying insects, whether they've been there in the past or they're currently present on site. So this is typically not super expensive, but it really does pay dividends in the long term, because if you get into a house not knowing that it has a termite infestation and you just spent the most money you've ever spent in your life, you just put $100,000, $200,000 into this house, and you have something that's going to destroy if you don't take care of it for another large expense, you're going to be out of luck. So take care of that expense up front during the contract period so you don't have to worry about it later on. So let's see, we have the option check written, we have the earnest money delivered. Those both have to happen within the first 3 days of the 30, at least in Texas. Check in your state if you're somewhere different. Then we have the inspection and wood destroying insect inspection done as well. So next step is to go back with those negotiations. So If something comes up, you have this time within that 10 days or 15 days, whatever it is, whatever you decide to have, to negotiate what you want in terms of remedies. And if people don't agree to those or you change your mind, during that option period, you can still walk away and you're only out that $100, $200, $300 that you agreed to pay for the option period, and you receive your earnest money funds back. So this is something a lot of people don't fully understand, and they think they get their option money back, which is typically not a huge investment, but it is important to know that once you sign the option money check or deliver that cash, it is gone. It is the seller's property as soon as it is in their hands. So you have all those repairs negotiated, you've got those checks to where they need to be. Now the next thing that's really important to think about is where your financing is at. So you got to stay on top of this. So be sure to be talking and communicating with your realtor and your loan officer on a weekly, if not daily basis at this point. So once you're a couple weeks in, you should know if you're not already pre-approved and through the process, if you're good to go for your loan, and you should have your final approval and be waiting for the clear to close somewhere around that 21 to 28 day mark. So check in with your loan officer, make sure they have everything that they need to do their job, and if they don't, get it to them as quickly as possible so that you can still close on time and there's not an unhappy seller and unhappy buyer. You want to be in your house in time, so be sure that everything on your end has been done accordingly. Next, after you've negotiated all those repairs, financing is good to go, got all the checks where they need to be, it's going to be going back and making sure that repairs have been done and completed to appropriate standards. So in Texas at least, unless the seller is a professional in the field that the repair is being done in, for example, if there's a leak in a sink and the seller is a plumber, then they can repair that sink. But otherwise, in Texas, all repairs and remedies laid forth in the amendment do have to be performed by licensed professionals or professionals who practice the duty for a living in the state. So you want to go back and make sure you have all the receipts for every repair that they agreed to do, that it's done, and you schedule your final walkthrough with your realtor to walk through the house before closing. The last thing I want to happen is for you to close on a home, they already have your funds, you take your key and move in, you're ready, and none of the repairs that you agreed to have been completed. You don't want to move into a house that's not ready for you. So make sure you do not get in a situation like that, and make sure that those repairs are done, because that is something I see happen a lot more than it should, and that's an easy one. So final walkthroughs, guys. So in conclusion, those are pretty much all the things that you need to consider on your side leading up to closing after your offer has been accepted. And remember, it's not your house until your money is in their account and you have the keys. So let's just review all those real fast and we'll call it a day. So starting off, we have the earnest and option money funds and checks that need to be delivered to the seller and the title company for their escrow account. Then you have the inspection and the wood destroying insect inspection. Then you have staying on top of financing, which is a huge one that is really overlooked quite a bit by buyers and realtors, but it's super important to consider. Then after that, we have going back to do a final walkthrough and getting ready for closing day. So I hope these have helped you and really help you when you decide to buy your first home or your next home. And as always, feel free to reach out and give me a shout if you have any questions about real estate, investing, Airbnbs, multifamily, whatever you got, shoot it my way. I'm more than happy to help you. And if I don't have the answer, I'll get you in touch with someone who does. As always, thank you guys for watching. Your likes and subscribes really do help me a lot, and they let me know that y'all are enjoying the content and to keep making more of it. So thanks, and talk to y'all next time.